In the vast expanse of the cosmos, a collection of advanced alien civilizations had long looked down upon the primitive humans, dismissing their fledgling efforts in space exploration as laughable. These alien races, far superior in technology and military might, viewed humanity's meager achievements with barely concealed contempt. High above the blue-green orb of Earth, a small human fleet drifted silently, its aging vessels a stark contrast to the sleek, powerful ships of the alien empires that surrounded it. For centuries, this modest armada had remained a fixture in the solar system, a relic from humanity's bygone era of space exploration. The alien commanders observed the human fleet with a mix of amusement and pity. Their sensor arrays detected no significant threat from those antiquated ships, their once formidable weapons systems long since fallen into disrepair. To the alien eyes, this human flotilla was nothing more than a quaint museum piece, a testament to the limitations of the primitive species that had created it. "Look at them," scoffed Admiral Psyloth, the commander of the nearest alien task force. "Those crude vessels are hardly worthy of our notice. If we wished, we could reduce them to scrap with a single salvo from our cannons." His subordinates nodded in agreement, their eyes glinting with a sense of superiority. The humans, they believed, were a species destined to forever remain on the fringes of galactic civilization, unable to comprehend the true power wielded by the advanced alien races. "Perhaps we should put them out of their misery," suggested Commander Vortex, his tone dripping with disdain. "After all, it is only a matter of time before their pathetic technology fails them completely." Admiral Psyloth considered the proposal, a cruel smile spreading across his alien features. "No, let them linger a while longer," he decided. "It will be far more satisfying to watch them cling to their delusions of relevance until the end." The alien fleet maintained its watchful vigil, their gaze fixed upon the seemingly innocuous human vessels. Though the humans appeared unaware of their alien observers, a single, solitary figure stood upon the bridge of the largest human ship, gazing out into the void. Captain Eliza Novak had commanded this fleet for the better part of her distinguished career, witnessing firsthand the gradual decline of humanity's once proud space program. She knew all too well the limitations of the aging vessels under her command, their weapons systems and propulsion drives long overdue for replacement. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, Novak refused to lose hope. Deep within the hold of her flagship, she knew a secret lay waiting, a secret that could change the course of humanity's future, if only the right moment presented itself. As the alien fleet continued to mock and taunt the humans from afar, Novak's eyes narrowed with determination. She would bide her time, allowing the arrogant aliens to underestimate the capabilities of her beloved fleet. For when the time was right, she and her crew would unleash a power that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The alien commanders, oblivious to the hidden potential of their human counterparts, continued their idle chatter, their laughter echoing through the void. They had no idea that the tables were about to turn, that the very fleet they had dismissed as insignificant would soon rise to challenge the supremacy of the advanced alien civilizations. The stage was set for a confrontation that would redefine the balance of power in the cosmos, with the fate of both humanity and the alien races hanging in the balance. Centuries ago, when the human race still stood tall as a spacefaring civilization, the fleet that now drifted silently above Earth had been a symbol of their technological prowess and interstellar ambition. These majestic vessels, built with advanced materials and powered by engines that defied the limits of their time, had once explored the vast reaches of the cosmos, carrying humanity's dreams to the stars. But those halcyon days had long since passed. A series of devastating conflicts, coupled with a gradual decline in scientific and engineering expertise, had led to the downfall of humanity's space program. The Grand Fleet, once the pride of human achievement, had been decommissioned and hidden away, its true purpose forgotten by all but a handful of the most dedicated historians. As the alien armada continued to mock the aging human ships, a small group of scientists and engineers toiled in the shadows, working tirelessly to uncover the secrets of their ancestors. Led by the brilliant Dr. Liam Ackerson, this dedicated team had stumbled upon the hidden cache of ancient vessels, their purpose to restore the fleet to its former glory. "Can you believe it?" Ackerson said, his eyes shining with a mixture of wonder and determination. "All this time, the key to humanity's future has been right under our noses." His colleagues nodded, equally awestruck by the discovery. They had spent years painstakingly cataloging the various components and systems of the ancient fleet, their hands trembling with the weight of such a momentous responsibility. "If we can successfully reactivate and upgrade these ships, we may finally have a chance to reclaim our rightful place among the stars," Ackerson continued, his voice tinged with a sense of urgency. "But the task will not be an easy one. The technology is centuries old, and much of the knowledge has been lost to time." The team set to work, delving into the intricate schematics and blueprints that had been carefully preserved in the hidden archives. They pored over every detail, studying the propulsion systems, weapons arrays, and life support mechanisms that had once propelled humanity's exploration of the cosmos. Slowly but surely, the team's efforts began to bear fruit. Using their own advanced knowledge and the insights gleaned from the ancient records, they devised ways to retrofit the aging ships with cutting-edge technology. Powerful new engines, shielding systems, and precision-guided armaments were integrated into the hulls of the once obsolete vessels. As the work progressed, whispers of their activities began to spread, reaching the ears of the skeptical public. Many dismissed the scientists' efforts as a futile endeavor, believing that the human race had long since lost the capability to revive such an ancient and outdated fleet. But Ackerson and his team remained undaunted, driven by the conviction that the future of humanity rested on the success of their mission. They knew that the alien empires, so quick to underestimate the potential of their species, would be in for a rude awakening when the time came to unveil the true power of the resurrected fleet. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation, one that would pit the combined might of the advanced alien civilizations against the hidden capabilities of humanity's long-forgotten technological legacy. And as the work continued, a sense of cautious optimism began to take root within the hearts of the dedicated scientists and engineers, for they sensed that the tides were about to turn in humanity's favor. As the dedicated team of scientists and engineers toiled away in their hidden laboratories, the rest of humanity remained largely unaware of the momentous events unfolding. The public's attention was focused on more immediate concerns, the daily struggles of life, the political turmoil that often consumed the global stage, the constant need to eke out a living in an increasingly challenging world. But deep within the heart of the research facility, Dr. Liam Ackerson and his colleagues were driven by a vision that transcended the immediate. They knew that the fate of their species hung in the balance, and that the success of their mission could determine the course of humanity's future. Day after day, they pored over the ancient schematics, tinkering with the complex systems that had once powered the forgotten fleet. It was painstaking, meticulous work, requiring a level of expertise and attention to detail that few could match. The key, Ackerson would often mutter to himself, lies in understanding the underlying principles that guided our ancestors' designs. If we can uncover those secrets, we may just have a chance at reviving this fleet. His team, a diverse group of engineers, technicians, and data analysts, worked in perfect harmony, each contributing their unique skills and insights to the daunting task at hand. Together, they wrestled with the challenges posed by the aging technology, finding innovative solutions that pushed the boundaries of their own knowledge. As the weeks turned into months, the first signs of progress began to emerge. One by one, the long-dormant systems roared to life, their power cores humming with renewed vigor. The researchers watched with bated breath as the ship's thrusters ignited, propelling the vessels through the void with a grace and efficiency that belied their antiquity. "We're doing it," exclaimed Dr. Mai Chen, her face alight with triumph. "The fleet is coming back to life, just as our ancestors intended." The other team members erupted in a chorus of cheers and applause, their tireless efforts finally bearing fruit. But even as they celebrated this milestone, they knew that the true test was yet to come. For the aliens who had so casually dismissed the human fleet as a relic of a bygone era remained unaware of the transformation that was taking place. They continued to monitor the vessels from afar, their arrogance and complacency blinding them to the true potential of the ancient ships. Ackerson and his team, however, were keenly aware of the looming confrontation. They knew that once the fleet was fully operational, they would have to make a decisive move, one that could potentially change the balance of power in the cosmos forever. The researchers redoubled their efforts, working around the clock to refine the vessel's systems and prepare them for the inevitable showdown. They reinforced the hulls, upgraded the weapons arrays, and fine-tuned the navigational and communication systems, leaving no stone unturned in their quest for perfection. As the final preparations were made, a sense of both exhilaration and trepidation filled the air. The team members knew that they were on the cusp of a revolution, a moment in history that could either propel humanity to new heights or consign their species to oblivion. But Ackerson, his eyes shining with unwavering determination, knew that they had no choice but to succeed. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they were prepared to do whatever it took to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. With a deep breath, he gave the order to launch the fleet, setting in motion a chain of events that would shatter the very foundations of the alien empire's supremacy. The ancient vessels, reborn and reforged, were about to make their presence known to the galaxy, and the arrogant aliens who had mocked them were about to learn a harsh lesson in the true power of the human spirit. With the decision made to launch the resurrected human fleet, Dr. Liam Ackerson and his team of dedicated scientists and engineers knew they had no time to waste. The fate of their species hung in the balance, and the slightest misstep could spell disaster. Gathered around the holographic projections of the ancient vessels, the researchers meticulously planned their next steps. They pored over the schematics, identifying the key areas that required the most substantial upgrades: the propulsion systems, the weapons arrays, the shielding and life support mechanisms. "We need to act with haste, but also with extreme caution," Ackerson warned, his brow furrowed in deep concentration. "One wrong move, and all of our efforts could be for naught." His colleagues nodded in agreement, their fingers flying across the control panels as they began the process of retrofitting the aged ships. It was a delicate, painstaking task, requiring the utmost precision and technical expertise. First, they tackled the engines, replacing the outdated components with state-of-the-art propulsion systems. The researchers tinkered with the fuel mixtures, adjusting the output and efficiency to maximize the vessel's speed and maneuverability. Sparks flew and metal groaned as they worked, their hands steady and their minds focused. "We're making good progress," announced Dr. Mai Chen, her eyes locked on the readouts. "The new engines are responding well, and we're seeing a significant increase in both thrust and range." Ackerson allowed himself a small smile, his confidence buoyed by the team's success. But he knew that the true test was yet to come, as they turned their attention to the ship's weapon systems. The ancient armaments, once the pride of humanity's military might, had fallen into disrepair over the centuries. The researchers spent countless hours poring over the schematics, devising ways to integrate the latest advancements in energy-based weaponry. "These old cannons and missile launchers just won't cut it anymore," muttered Jamal, the team's weapons specialist. "We'll need to completely overhaul the systems if we want any chance against the alien fleets." With unwavering determination, the team set to work, their hands calloused from countless hours of grueling labor. They replaced the outdated components, fine-tuned the targeting systems, and developed innovative new munitions that could pierce even the most advanced shielding. As the weeks turned into months, the transformation of the ancient fleet became increasingly apparent. The once lumbering vessels took on a new sense of power and grace, their sleek hulls gleaming with the latest technologies. Yet, even as the researchers celebrated their progress, a sense of unease began to seep into the air. The public, largely unaware of the team's activities, was growing increasingly skeptical of the project. Rumors began to circulate, with some accusing Ackerson and his colleagues of wasting valuable resources on a futile endeavor. "They'll see," Ackerson would mutter, his eyes narrowed with determination. "When the time comes, they'll all see what we're capable of." The team pressed on, undaunted by the growing skepticism. They knew that the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they were willing to risk everything to prove the naysayers wrong. Finally, as the last of the upgrades were completed, the researchers stood back and admired their handiwork. The once outdated fleet had been transformed into a formidable force, its weapons and defenses rivaling the most advanced alien armadas. Ackerson felt a surge of pride as he gazed upon the ships, his heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. The aliens had mocked their efforts, but soon they would learn the true extent of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. With a steely resolve, the team prepared to launch the revitalized fleet, ready to confront the arrogant alien civilizations that had so long dismissed the potential of the human race. The stage was set for a clash that would shake the foundations of the galaxy, and Ackerson knew that the future of their species hung in the balance. As the human scientists and engineers toiled away in their hidden laboratories, working tirelessly to breathe new life into the ancient fleet, the alien empires remained blissfully unaware of the impending threat. They continued to observe the human vessels from afar, their advanced sensor arrays detecting no significant changes or activity. "Those pitiful ships have not moved an inch in decades," scoffed Admiral Psyloth, the commander of the nearest alien task force. "They are nothing more than museum pieces, relics of a bygone era that hold no relevance to the true powers of the galaxy." His subordinates nodded in agreement, their eyes gleaming with a sense of superiority. They had long since dismissed the humans as a primitive, insignificant species, incapable of posing any real challenge to the might of the alien empires. But as the months passed, a subtle shift began to take place. The human fleet, once motionless and dormant, began to exhibit signs of renewed activity. Barely perceptible at first, the alien sensors detected small bursts of energy, followed by minute adjustments to the vessel's positioning. "What is the meaning of this?" Psyloth demanded, his brow furrowing with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Have the humans finally decided to test the limits of their pathetic technology? The other commanders, equally intrigued by the sudden change, dispatched additional probes and reconnaissance teams to gather more information. They scanned the human fleet from every angle, scrutinizing every detail, but their efforts yielded little more than tantalizing hints of the true nature of the ongoing activity. "The energy readings are too inconsistent, the movements too erratic," reported Commander Vortex, his voice laced with frustration. "It is as if they are experimenting, but to what end, I cannot say." Psyloth considered the implications, his mind racing with possibilities. Could it be that the humans were finally making a move, after centuries of dormancy? The very idea was both intriguing and unsettling, for the alien commander knew that any threat, no matter how small, could not be taken lightly. "Increase surveillance," he ordered, his tone unyielding. "I want constant monitoring of those ships, and the moment they show any sign of aggression, we strike with full force." The other commanders hesitated, their expressions reflecting a mixture of unease and indecision. They had grown complacent in their dominance, secure in the knowledge that the human race posed no real danger. Now, faced with the prospect of a potential shift in the balance of power, they found themselves grappling with a sense of uncertainty. "But, Admiral, surely we can find a diplomatic solution to this," suggested Commander Vortex, his voice tinged with caution. "After all, the humans have never demonstrated any desire for conflict. Perhaps we should approach them with a more conciliatory tone and seek to understand their intentions." Psyloth's eyes narrowed, his jaw setting with a firm resolve. "Diplomacy is for the weak," he spat. "We are the masters of this galaxy, and we will not be challenged by these primitives. If they seek to provoke us, then they shall feel the full might of our armadas." The other commanders reluctantly acquiesced, their own pride and arrogance preventing them from voicing their doubts. As the alien fleet tightened its surveillance and readied itself for a potential confrontation, a sense of unease began to permeate the void. The humans, once dismissed as insignificant, were now the subject of intense scrutiny. And the alien empires, so confident in their technological superiority, were about to learn a harsh lesson: that the true power of the human spirit could not be so easily underestimated. The tension in the air was palpable as the human scientists and engineers, led by the determined Dr. Liam Ackerson, completed the final preparations for the launch of the revitalized fleet. For years, they had toiled in the shadows, pouring their hearts and souls into the daunting task of resurrecting the ancient vessels. And now, the moment of truth had finally arrived. Gathered on the bridge of the flagship, the researchers watched with bated breath as the engines roared to life, the once dormant ships coming alive with a renewed sense of power and purpose. Ackerson stood tall, his eyes shining with a mixture of pride and trepidation, knowing that the fate of humanity rested squarely on their shoulders. "This is it, team," he said, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Everything we've done has led us to this point. Now let's show the galaxy what the human race is truly capable of." With a nod, he issued the order to depart, and the fleet surged forward, its sleek hulls cutting through the void with a grace and speed that belied its age. The alien empires, long accustomed to the sluggish movements of the human vessels, were taken completely by surprise. "What is the meaning of this?" Admiral Xyloth roared, his eyes widening in shock as his sensors detected the sudden burst of activity from the human fleet. "How have they managed to do this?" His subordinates scrambled to gather more information, their fingers flying across the control panels as they tried to make sense of the unfolding events. But the data they received was both perplexing and unsettling. The human ships were moving with a level of agility and precision that should have been beyond their capabilities. "The energy output from their engines is off the charts," reported Commander Vortex, his voice tinged with a hint of unease. "And their weapons systems, they appear to have been significantly upgraded." Xyloth's brow furrowed, his mind racing as he tried to understand the implications. For centuries, the humans had been little more than a curiosity, a quaint relic of a bygone era that held no real threat to the might of the alien empires. But now, it seemed that the tides had turned, and the once dismissed human fleet was poised to become a force to be reckoned with. "Dispatch our fastest ships to intercept them," the admiral ordered, his tone laced with a sense of urgency. "We cannot allow them to gain any further ground. This cannot be allowed to stand." As the alien task force surged forward, their powerful engines propelling them towards the rapidly retreating human fleet, a sense of dread began to creep into the hearts of the alien commanders. They had long taken the humans for granted, dismissing their capabilities with a casual arrogance. But now, faced with the sudden and dramatic transformation of the human vessels, they found themselves confronted with the unsettling possibility that they had gravely underestimated their adversaries. On the bridge of the human flagship, Captain Eliza Novak watched the alien ships close in, her expression calm and resolute. She had spent years waiting for this moment, knowing that the fate of her species hung in the balance. And now, with the full might of the resurrected fleet at her command, she was prepared to do whatever it took to ensure humanity's survival. "Weapons systems online," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. "Prepare for battle. We will not go down without a fight." The human vessels, their newly upgraded armaments gleaming in the stellar light, turned to face the advancing alien fleet, ready to engage in a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The arrogant aliens who had once mocked the human fleet were about to learn a harsh lesson: that the true power of the human spirit could not be so easily subdued. The vastness of space echoed with the thunderous rumble of engines as the alien fleet surged forward, its commanders driven by a mix of fury and disbelief. How dare these primitive humans defy the might of the advanced alien civilizations? It was an affront to the natural order of the galaxy, a challenge that could not be ignored. Leading the charge was Admiral Psylocke. His eyes narrowed with a steely determination as he watched the human vessels on his view screen. Gone were the lumbering, outdated ships he had once dismissed with such casual disdain. In their place stood a formidable armada, its sleek hulls gleaming with advanced technology. "Fire everything we've got," Psylocke bellowed, his voice dripping with a mixture of anger and uncertainty. "Show these humans the true power of our weapons." The alien ships unleashed a barrage of energy beams and projectile weapons, their firepower slamming into the human fleet with earth-shattering force. But to the alien commander's shock and dismay, the human vessels weathered the assault with an ease that defied their expectations. "Impossible," hissed Commander Vortex, his fingers flying across the control panels as he tried to comprehend the unfolding events. "Their shields are holding, and their return fire. It's devastating." Indeed, the human ships had responded with a furious display of firepower, their newly upgraded weapon systems cutting through the alien defenses with devastating precision. Explosions rocked the alien vessels, their hulls buckling under the relentless onslaught. Psylocke gripped the arms of his command chair, his knuckles turning white with the intensity of his grip. This was not how the battle was supposed to unfold. The humans were supposed to be easy prey, their antiquated technology no match for the sheer power of the alien armadas. And yet, here they stood, defiant and unyielding, pushing the alien forces back with each passing moment. "Adapt our tactics," the Admiral barked, his eyes scanning the tactical displays with a sense of growing urgency. "We cannot allow them to gain the upper hand. Surround them, overwhelm them with numbers." The alien ships, their commanders stung by the unexpected resistance, quickly reorganized themselves, surrounding the human fleet in a coordinated pincer movement. The battle lines were drawn, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. On the bridge of the human flagship, Captain Eliza Novak watched the unfolding conflict with a mixture of trepidation and grim determination. She had known that this day would come, that the moment of reckoning was upon them. And now, with the full power of the resurrected fleet at her command, she was prepared to do whatever it took to secure humanity's future. "Hold your positions," she ordered, her voice calm and steady. "Wait for my signal, then execute the maneuver we've practiced. This is our moment to shine." Her crew, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and resolve, nodded in acknowledgement. They had poured their hearts and souls into the revival of the ancient fleet, and they were not about to let their efforts be in vain. As the alien ships closed in, their weapon systems charging for another devastating volley, Novak raised her hand, her expression unwavering. "Now," she commanded, and the human fleet sprang into action, its vessels maneuvering with a grace and precision that left the alien commanders reeling. The battle that ensued was a chaotic blur of energy beams and missile fire, with both sides fighting tooth and nail for the upper hand. But as the dust began to settle, it became increasingly clear that the humans had found a way to turn the tide of the conflict. The alien ships, once so confident in their technological superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned, their defenses crumbling under the relentless onslaught of the human fleet. Psylocke and his fellow commanders watched in stunned silence as their once mighty armada was slowly but surely pushed back, the humans' innovative tactics and upgraded weaponry proving to be a formidable adversary. In the end, the alien forces were forced to retreat, their pride and arrogance shattered by the unexpected triumph of their human counterparts. As they fled into the depths of space, Psylocke's mind raced with a sense of disbelief and dread, for he knew that the balance of power in the galaxy had been irrevocably altered, and that the humans were no longer a force to be taken lightly. As the alien fleet retreated, its commanders reeling from the unexpected and devastating defeat, a sense of stunned silence fell over the battlefield. The human vessels, their once antiquated systems now bristling with upgraded weaponry and shielding, stood firm, their triumphant crews watching as the alien ships fled into the vastness of space. On the bridge of the human flagship, Captain Eliza Novak allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. The gamble they had taken, the countless hours of painstaking work, had all been worth it. The once mocked human fleet had proven its worth, shaking the very foundations of the alien empire's technological supremacy. "All units, report in," Novak commanded, her voice carrying a newfound confidence. "I want a full damage assessment, and prepare for any potential counterattack." The responses came flooding in, each member of the crew reporting the status of their individual systems and the condition of the fleet as a whole. To Novak's relief, the upgrades had held up remarkably well, and the human vessels had emerged from the fierce battle with only minor damage. "We did it," Mai Chen, the chief engineer, breathed, her eyes shining with a mixture of pride and disbelief. "We actually did it. The fleet is in excellent shape, and our new weapons systems performed even better than we'd hoped." Novak nodded, her expression grave. "This is only the beginning," she said, her gaze fixed on the retreating alien ships. "We've shown them that we are no longer to be underestimated, but the true test lies ahead. Those alien commanders will not take this defeat lightly, and they will be back with a vengeance." The crew fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. They had fought hard to bring the ancient fleet back to life, to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. But they knew that the battle for humanity's survival had only just begun. Back in the alien command center, Admiral Tylov paced the bridge, his mind racing with a mixture of fury and disbelief. How could this have happened? How could a mere handful of human ships, once dismissed as a relic of the past, have inflicted such a devastating blow to the mighty alien armadas? "This is unacceptable," he roared, slamming his fist against the nearest console. "We are the masters of the galaxy. How dare these primitives challenge our supremacy?" His subordinates, their expressions a mix of shock and trepidation, remained silent, unsure of how to respond to their commander's outburst. They had witnessed the human fleet's incredible display of firepower and maneuverability, and the realization that they had severely underestimated their adversaries weighed heavily on their minds. "We must regroup, reorganize our forces," Sylov continued, his voice strained with a sense of urgency. "And when we return, we will show these humans the true extent of our power. They will regret the day they dared to defy us." The other commanders, their own pride wounded by the unexpected defeat, nodded in agreement. The aliens had long taken their technological superiority for granted, and the thought of being bested by a species they had so casually dismissed was a bitter pill to swallow. But as they set to work, devising new strategies and upgrading their own armaments, a sense of unease began to creep into their minds. For they knew, deep down, that the human fleet was no longer the laughable, obsolete force they had once perceived it to be. The tables had been turned, and the balance of power in the galaxy was shifting in a way that none of them could have anticipated. The once arrogant aliens, their confidence shaken, found themselves consumed by a growing sense of dread. They had underestimated the resilience and ingenuity of the human race, and now they were faced with the terrifying prospect of confronting a foe that had proven itself to be a formidable adversary. As the alien fleet regrouped and prepared for the inevitable rematch, the human crews aboard the resurrected vessels steeled themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. They knew that the fight for their species' survival was far from over, but they were determined to stand their ground, to prove to the galaxy that the human spirit could not be so easily broken. In the eerie silence that followed the decisive victory of the human fleet, a palpable tension hung in the void of space. The once arrogant alien commanders, their confidence shattered by the unexpected display of power, found themselves grappling with a range of emotions: fury, disbelief, and a growing sense of trepidation. Admiral Sylov, his face etched with a mixture of frustration and grudging respect, paced the bridge of his flagship, his mind racing as he contemplated the implications of the battle's outcome. How could a mere handful of human ships, once dismissed as relics of a bygone era, have inflicted such a devastating blow to the might of the alien armadas? Unacceptable, he muttered under his breath, his fists clenched at his sides. This cannot be allowed to stand. His subordinates, equally unsettled by the turn of events, remained silent, their eyes fixed on the tactical displays that showed the human fleet regrouping and preparing for the next phase of the conflict. The alien commanders knew that they could not afford to underestimate their adversaries again, and that the upcoming battle would be a true test of their mettle. As the human vessels moved to secure their position, Captain Eliza Novak stood tall on the bridge of the flagship, her expression a mix of triumph and determination. The gamble they had taken, the endless hours of painstaking work, had paid off, and now the fate of humanity rested squarely on their shoulders. "Signal the other ships," she commanded, her voice clear and unwavering. "Prepare for the next phase of our operation. We've shown them what we're capable of. And now it's time to drive the message home." The crew responded with a renewed sense of purpose, their fingers flying across the control panels as they carried out Novak's orders. The human fleet, once dismissed as a relic of the past, had become a force to be reckoned with, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of the human race. As the alien armadas regrouped and prepared for a renewed assault, the news of the human fleet's triumph began to spread throughout the galaxy. At first, the reaction was one of disbelief and confusion. How could these primitive humans have managed to achieve such a remarkable victory against the might of the advanced alien civilizations? But as the reports continued to trickle in, a sense of unease and trepidation began to take hold. The alien empires, long accustomed to their technological superiority, found themselves facing the unsettling prospect of a new power rising to challenge their dominance. "This changes everything," murmured one of the senior commanders, his brow furrowed with a mixture of concern and grudging admiration. "We can no longer dismiss the humans as insignificant. They have proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with." The other commanders nodded in agreement, their expressions grim. They knew that the balance of power in the galaxy had been irrevocably altered, and that the future of their own civilizations now hung in the balance. For the humans, the victory was a moment of both triumph and trepidation. They had reclaimed their rightful place among the stars, proving to the galaxy that their species was far more than just a collection of primitives. But they also knew that the war was far from over, and that the alien empires would stop at nothing to reassert their dominance. As the human fleet continued to press its advantage, the alien commanders watched with a mixture of awe and fear. The once mocked human vessels, their upgraded systems, and weaponry gleaming in the stellar light, had become a symbol of a new era, one in which the human race was no longer content to be relegated to the fringes of galactic civilization. And in the hearts of the human crews, a sense of renewed hope and determination took root. They had proven their worth, and now they were ready to take their place as equals among the stars, ready to forge a new future for their species, one that would forever change the course of the galaxy.